Mine. Nice one.
Nice.
What the?
What is your sense, my friend?
The top tier esports teams wouldn't be there if they wouldn't be good at solving problems. But in order to solve a problem, you first need to identify it. Lycan, the coach of Space Station Gaming, the team that won the 2020 Invitational, the World Finals, he had this to say on the Logic Bomb podcast.
If you lose and then just saying, well, we weren't playing our game today, you're not learning shit by saying that. You're literally, what is the reason why you lost? Where was it? Oh, we were just stalling out. Why were you stalling out? That's not your answer. That's a comment.
As you see, he understands the importance of identifying the problem in order to be able to solve it. But what he might not know is that the way you perceive a problem affects the way you deal with it. If you want to really solve your problem, for example stalling out, you need to consider all the aspects that could affect it. Like for example, you were stalling because you had no intel, you had no utility to deal with the utility of the opponent, or maybe other aspects. Thinking of all these different reasons why something is a problem, or rather what the real problem might be, is known as divergent thinking. Making sure that you have a clear view on all the different aspects that went into losing the round, or you losing the match, will help you solve the actual problem more effectively. When the complete version of the replay system goes live, it will become easier to analyze a lot of gameplay factors that went into losing the match, or winning it for that matter. Now, once you know what the problem is, you can go and work on a strategy to deal with it. To solve problems in general, there are two types of strategies. You can use algorithms and heuristics. When you choose the right algorithm for your problem, it guarantees the right outcome. The downside of an algorithm is that you can only use it on a specific problem where opinions or feelings aren't an important factor. If you have a very complex problem, it can be pretty difficult to just use or even find some kind of a formula or algorithm. That's why we, as humans, developed a more intuitive, a more flexible strategy to solve problems, called heuristics. These so-called heuristics are the way you deal with your problems in Siege. We don't use algorithms, because the game is simply too complex. We all have our own collection of heuristics, like when your sound gets bugged, you restart your game. A heuristic is a strategy we use to solve complex problems in a relatively quick way. But by using a heuristic, you don't always know if it's going to give you the outcome you want. There are, however, some general heuristics that will help you to figure out strategies to solve your problems in game. Like working backward to figure out how to enter a building in Siege can be overwhelming for a new player or just a player on a new map. By using this heuristic, you start with finding the objective. Once you know where it is, you can think of a way to get outside of the building, which is easier than finding your way in. To form a good strategy, you can start with thinking of where to plant the diffuser, and then thinking of ways you might get there. What wall to breach? What map control do you need to pull this plant off? Another heuristic we use is familiarity. When a map gets a rework, you don't always go to that new site you never played before. You go to the site you're familiar defending. It's just too complex to come up with a complete new way to defend a site. But if you go to a new site, you also can use familiarity. When you see, for example, a soft floor, you can think of other maps with a lot of soft floors. What does one site have in common with another one that you're more used to? For example, kitchen dining on the reworked chalet. The ceiling is destructible, like completely, which makes me think of it as border the site ventilation workshop. You defend this by either extending vertically, which is what I'm used to, but you can also extend horizontally. A big problem, like how to play consistently, is a hard to solve problem, but finding a new angle is pretty simple. Just destroy a lot of floors and walls in a custom game. Using smaller problems to solve a bigger problem is a very usable and common heuristic. By chopping up your big problem into smaller ones, and then step by step solving the smaller ones will help you to solve the problem easier and sometimes even quicker. However, sometimes it's just really hard to solve your problems. Luckily, psychology can help you explain why that might be. A mental set is one of those explanations. When you're determined to use a specific strategy because it always worked so well, but it doesn't work so well in reality, means that you have the wrong mental set. You have the tendency to solve a new problem the same way as an old problem, because you see familiarity. This familiarity, however, stops you from finding a new and better way to solve it. There's a special kind of mental set, when you can't find a new way to use an old tool at your disposal. This example actually happened in a game where I played with a friend of mine. He hasn't played Siege for a while. He picked Legion and brought impacts. I was playing Mute and he was like, where do we need to rotate? So I said, I got the rotates with my shotgun, don't worry about it. His reaction was, okay, so my impacts are useless now. He associated impacts with making rotates. He couldn't find a new way to use them, like killing the planter or throwing it at enemies to distort their sound, or maybe just using it to impact trick. It also happens that people just hold themselves back from a good solution. It's as if you think that all 10 reinforcements need to be utilized, or that a certain wall always needs to be reinforced. There always has to be someone on site, or an attack. A support player shouldn't or can't take gunfights, because of the utility he's carrying. You don't have to drone for a Montaigne or other shield ops. All of these things can hold you back from improving or finding a new way to do things that might be better than the old familiar way. If you have any more examples of things where you hold yourself back, share them in the comments or on my Discord server. Link in the description. There are also a lot of other obstacles you can encounter when solving a problem effectively, like not having enough knowledge or just not enough interest in the problem. You're just too tired, don't have enough confidence. Excitement or, on the other side, stress or other kinds of pressure can also leave an impact on your problem-solving capabilities. However, in general, people are thinkers that take decisions too fast based on knowledge that is available to them. But on the other side, they are biased by the knowledge, just like they are by their motivation, emotions, and perceptions. Is this wrong? No, I don't think so. We've been solving problems like this for ages, and it always helped us to innovate and move forward. But knowing your limitations and taking them into account when you're having trouble solving something can only help you to become more effective and creative. And therefore, it will help you to improve in a game of Siege. If you have any questions, you can contact me on Twitter, Reddit, in the comments, or now also in my own Discord server. I'll leave the link in the description. Thanks for watching.